Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CM Trading. Today is September 26, 2019, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the major economic events of the day, starting at 3:30 South African time, out of the European Union, we have ECB President Draghi will be speaking, which is an important event. And then at 3:45 South African time, Bank of England Governor Carney will be speaking. So two speaking engagements today, and that's all the major economic events of the day. But looking at the markets, goodness gracious, US dollar gains versus the euro, the British pound, and the Aussie dollar. We're going to take a look at that. And the Dow Jones makes a little bit of a comeback yesterday. But the question is, how long will this last? And is it a mixed bag? I'm going to answer that as well. And looking at the commodities, gold tanks as a result, inverse relationship. We spoke about this several times. And oil breaks support. Okay, after that massive gap up since we had from that terrorist attack on the Saudi Arabia pipeline. I'm going to take a look at that as well. And then looking at the stock, JP Morgan at new all-time highs, while Microsoft and Google are gaining momentum, and we're seeing a little bit of a mix back there. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin, it bounces off our fourth Fibonacci support as it breaks down. But let's take a look at what we can expect from today's trading. Well, we're looking here at the Euro USD at a 4-hour chart, and as you can see, we're pretty much bouncing off this lows at 109.57-ish level, and this is a decent support area. Okay, this is the third time we're challenging it, and as a result of all this, we may actually, if it does break this area, we may see it break even further. Okay, and we've seen this time and time again that the euro is the weakest versus the US dollar. And the reason I say that, if we look at the GBP, we did take a retracement, but we're not breaking down to its all-time lows. You know, vis-a-vis the euro, we should be at 119 here, whereas in the GBP, we're trading at 123 and on a previous resistance, possibly subsequent support here. So we may see this actually bounce off of these levels. Okay, so I'd compare the two to see and anticipate today's trading. Now, the Aussie dollar also been breaking down, as you could look here at a 4-hour chart. We haven't been covering it for a while just because it was trading in just a range for a long time, and finally breaking that out and seeing that resistance around this area. Now it's becoming a little bit more interesting as it's hitting this area right here, which is a previous low on a multi-time frame level. So if it does break these areas, we could see it challenge this area once again. Okay, so it is very exciting times to be trading the dollar versus these international pairs, just because there's so much movement and so much momentum in them. Now, this is obviously affecting the commodities. Okay, looking at oil, gold here first, 1529, we hit a high of yesterday of 1534, and looked like we were going to make it back to this 1554-ish level, and boom, we nosedive, okay, because that's an inverse relationship with the Dow Jones, and you can see that we're just lower here, okay, nothing really sustaining this, so I would presume that we'll be trading within a range and continue trading in a range with the price of gold. Now, looking at oil, this is what I'm talking about. When we've been watching this very carefully over the last week. Okay, this obviously was the gap up, okay, and this was the recapitulation at $62 a barrel, and then finally taking it lower as we've been breaking down and breaking that support level of $56. Now we're using that as a possible resistance level. Okay, so I would actually look to short here in a possible retracement down to the $54 area. Okay, that is my call for the price of oil. Now let's see if that actually frustrates later today. And looking at the Dow Jones, okay, this has really been an exciting trade. We're looking at a 4-hour chart. You can see we rallied yesterday. Well, now we're actually selling off a little bit below this moving average. The question is that whether or not this is actually going to sustain itself on the upside, okay, because it does have a downwards momentum, okay, trend line forming. Okay, not necessarily is it going to happen today. We may see this actually break above the 27,000 area, and if it doesn't, then we may actually go lower. Okay, despite what some of the stocks are doing, which we're looking at very carefully. Okay, so looking at the stocks, if we look at Google, we had a nice up move yesterday. The momentum is there, okay, and getting stronger. Now, if we look at JP Morgan, which was a massive rally yesterday to all-time highs, let's just bring it up. Let's see where it is. There we go, standing right next to me. JP Morgan trading at 119-ish level, okay, to all-time highs. Let's say if we look at it at a at a chart, a weekly chart, monthly chart, you can see that we did hit that all-time highs. Now the question is whether or not this is a resistance level at these areas, a 118-ish level, and today's going to be the deciding factor, I believe, okay, or some sort of impetus going into next week, but we need to get that confirmation that this is resistance, not going to go higher. Okay, now looking at Microsoft, also very buoyant yesterday, trading at 139, but again, not breaking out higher. I'd like to see these, heavyweights, which are breaking out higher, to actually do so and break out higher. Okay, but we're challenging that, and we are trading pretty much in a range here, and having this 141 being our upper limit. Okay, so looking at a weekly chart, we're having this difficulty up here with this 140-ish level breaking higher. Okay, let's make that clearer for us for future reference. Okay, as you can see, the RSI is at top of the range and really looking very overbought. So with that said, perhaps we'll have a retracement on the American stocks. Okay, we are going into October, which is generally a sell-off month for the US equities. I've mentioned that several times before. So with that said, keep that in mind. Now lastly, looking at Bitcoin, and that's what I'm talking about. We've had this Fibonacci retracement level set up for quite a while, and this is where our first support level, second support level, third support level, and then that's our third support level, 78.41. And we've seen this bounce off of it yesterday. Okay, now the question is that whether or not this is going to sustain this bounce and bounce possibly to this 89-ish level, okay, and use that as a resistance level. Okay, but that remains to be seen, as this has really been breaking down quite sharply, okay, with some momentum. All right, if it does break this 78-ish level, we could definitely see it go back to 6,000. So just be aware of that, okay? This does trade quite aggressively and quite volatile, so just be very, very defensive on your trading with it. Okay, just make sure your stop losses are there so that you don't get hurt. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.